everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my sewing room. Today I am about to start embarking on a very exciting project to me because it is something that I have never done before. I'm remodeling a house. Okay, technically it's a dollhouse. So recently I have acquired at low to no cost several larger pieces of American Girl furniture. I have Felicity's table and chairs, Rebecca's sideboard, Samantha's table and chairs, her bed, and her commode. Oh, right, and also the 1990s bunk bed set. I think that's everything. And I also am now up to 15 dolls, which the display that I got from Amazon last summer, which is like a little set of bamboo shelves, it really holds 12 dolls. So I have a little more than what I can put on my current display, and I decided that I needed some sort of larger display that can hold furniture. The requirements for this piece meant that they had to be deep enough to hold the bed because I wanted like Samantha's area to have her bed running, you know, this way so the foot of the bed is out, and then her table and chairs and ideally her commode back there. So it needed to have like a larger space and a deeper space, which meant that I needed something that was more than 20.5 inches deep. So I was looking online and I could have gotten a PAX IKEA unit, but it would have looked so giant in my room. And someone locally actually had a dollhouse that they had listed it for $50, but they wound up giving it to me for free. So today we are going to be working on that dollhouse because it is not the design that I want at all. It is painted all sorts of crazy colors, and it also kind of needs to get put back together because I went to go pick it up yesterday and it did not fit in my car. So we slightly disassembled it, and now I need to rebuild it and remodel it with paint or contact paper or maybe scrapbook paper. I know people use a lot of different methods for doing their dollhouses, and we are going to set up a really pretty display that can go. I'm gonna put it in my living room because there's nowhere else in my tiny house that it can go. So it can go in my living room and be a really nice looking display of like the furniture pieces plus some of the dolls. So let me show you what it looks like right now, even though it's disassembled. This is what it looks like when it's fully assembled. Like, this was the listing picture that I got from Facebook Marketplace. But yeah, it doesn't look like that right now. So let's go take a little trip to the garage and I will show you what it looks like right now. You'll have to bear with me with this lighting, but this is the dollhouse in its current state. So there are actually like two halves of the dollhouse that have been pushed together into one. So this kind of folds out and it becomes twice this wide, but this is the depth here. It's 22 inches. So that is part of it. And this jumble is the other part of it here. So these are the sides that we had to take off because they were too long to fit everything side by side in my car. And then that is the back of the top stories. So it is 3 stories tall. And as you can see, it's painted some really crazy colors that I don't want for my like historically accurate display. So I'm not sure if the first thing I'm gonna do is rebuild it or paint it, but one of those is gonna happen first and we will start on that today. I've separated out the two pieces so I can show you a little bit better how this dollhouse works. So basically what we're looking at here is my dog walking in front of the camera. Basically what we're looking at here is this empty side right here. This is where one of those walls, in fact, it's actually that green wall, get attached to. And then this is an interior wall which butts up against the other interior wall so that the whole unit is kind of 2 separate units and can be moved more easily. So right now, this floor has like, I think it's like backsplash tile on it. I don't want that, so I'm gonna have to peel that off. And then this one has like carpeting on it and it's hot pink and I don't want any of that either. And then this level, it's like the paint is pretty ucky back there in the back, so I need to fix that. And then the exterior, so this is like the top floor basically. This winds up being one large space with no divider wall, which is where I plan to put Samantha's bedroom, and the backing, that winds up being the back here. So This one, I just kind of want to make like pink and frilly like Samantha. I'm thinking of painting the exterior, like the sides of the exterior that I'll actually see. Probably a pretty neutral color, maybe a light blue or kind of a white or cream, probably like just whatever I have paint-wise around. And then inside, honestly, I want most of it all neutral anyway. So I am going to do flooring that I'm probably going to do out of like scrapbook paper, or I know you can get like contact paper that looks like flooring. And I might do some of that for wall treatments as well. But yeah, this has got to go. This one is much more neutral flooring wise. It just has like the wood, the plywood, but really bright orange and bright purple, so that's got to change. The flooring peeled off so nicely, so now I've just got some good wood bases. You can see like where the tiles were on there, but now I've just got good wood bases, so now I think we're ready to clean up everything and repaint. I went out and got paint and primer, and I have done one coat of primer on these levels here. So this bottom one is purple. It's still showing quite a bit through. Could probably use a second coat. This was orange. And then over here, I've done 2 coats of primer. Actually, this top level was white, so I really just did the little places where I needed it, but this was the hot pink one. I did 2 coats, looks pretty good. Did 2 coats on these 2 as well. This top one, I did the second coat while it was still kind of drying, the first coat, so it doesn't look that great. That was where it was lime green. And then I know it's pretty dark over here, but I did 2 coats on the 2 levels here that were also both colorful. And behind there is the one that was like dark purple, the backing. That's only had 1 coat because then I couldn't get to it afterwards. So I do have to do a little bit more priming tomorrow, but hopefully I can also start painting, because once I have the insides like actually painted, which I got kind of just an off-white, then I can put the sides on, and then I can paint the exteriors, which are currently lemon yellow. Not only is the primer now done, but I have actually done a coat of the white paint over here on this side. And then over here, I don't feel like it's showing up very pink, but this is pink. There's pink up top there, white here, white inside, and then this one over there, we've got the pink up top. That one's really showing pink, but they're the same color, and white on the bottom. The pink is definitely gonna need another coat, especially on this one right here. This had 2 coats of primer first, but it was purple, and it probably should have had 3 coats of primer. I did do 3 coats of primer like over where that pink is, but I'm still not sure if that needs another coat of pink as well. So we'll see how much more I have to do, but I'm hoping that once I do maybe 1 more coat, if that, I can actually go ahead and screw the sides back on to the rest of the house. That would be really great, because then I could paint the other side that right now is leaning up against the wall. It is a few hours later and the sides are now dry, so I went ahead and screwed and nailed them back on. There's like 12 screws plus like 3 nails holding up each side. The nails are in the back. And here's this one over here. This is the only part of the pink that needs the second coat, probably because it had 1 less coat of primer. So this is the very last thing to go on, like once these already move into the other room. So I'm not worried about giving this a second coat. I could do that anytime, but I am gonna go ahead and paint the exteriors now. This color right here, which I believe is like a blue gray. You can kind of see it on the outside. So I kind of wanted it to be a little bit blue neutral for the living room, because that is how my living room is. The sides are now painted with 1 coat. I have a feeling they're going to need a second coat, because I think you can see it looks kind of a little patchy. And to be honest, this one looks so much more patchy. I don't know if that's because it's in the process of drying or what, but I think I'm gonna need a second coat on that. And then I did a second coat on this, so that should hopefully now be done. And that will again just go on like at the very last minute once these are already moved into place and all settled, because this joins the 2 units together in the back. So I will check back in tomorrow on these guys to see how they've dried, and possibly we'll do 1 more coat of painting before we can move them inside. I do want to show you a couple of things here that I got from the $1.25 store though. This one right here, this is like a sticky back contact paper, like for drawer liners. And I was thinking about using that as kind of like a partial wainscoting. That is Lion drinking while I'm trying to talk to you, so sorry about that noise. And then this, I'm thinking again, will be like a lower half print. I'm gonna cut it across this way so that it's all stripes. This is gonna be for my 90s room. I just thought it would look really, really cute with the bunk bed. And then these I actually bought to do as windows on the top level on that like backboard. So I'm thinking of painting them white and putting some sort of a fake scene behind them. They're just photo frames from the dollar store, and then putting some curtains around them. I have just moved the house inside and Dora is debating about how she feels about it. And I am debating about the lift situation. So I can't even remember if I told you or not, but I bought 6-inch lifts to go underneath, like little cabinet legs to go underneath and lift it 6 inches off the ground. A, so that Dora wouldn't be so tempted to just climb inside, and B, so that I could put like shoe boxes of stuff underneath. And then this morning I got a second guess harebrained idea that like, no, I should do 10 inches. Dora, what are you doing? I should do 10-inch lifts instead to be able to do 2 layers of shoe boxes and to have that top layer be a little higher up, more like where that shelf is on that bookcase. But really? Okay, so clearly a 6-inch or 10-inch lift would not deter this little lady from sitting in this house, but I think she thinks it's hers now. But if I do it 10 inches, then I'm realizing that the tops of the cabinet here is going to then block the stuff that is on my shelving unit over there on my bookshelf. So now I'm second guessing. So I think I'm gonna get my mom's opinion. My friend Rachel thinks I should do the 6-inch, but we'll get my mom's opinion and see what she thinks. So while I was on the phone with my mom, I went and I set up these 2 dolls on different levels. So she is on 6 inches of board games and that table is 10 inches tall, which would show like how tall they would be if I put the 6-inch legs on versus the 10-inch legs. And honestly, I think I'm really liking where Felicity is on the 6-inch. So my mom agreed. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and put the 6-inch legs down on the bottom. Everything will be that height right there. And once the legs are on, then I should be able to put the backing piece on as well. I'm honestly not positive how to do that because it has to be like nailed in from the back, but then both units will have to move as one. So that might be a challenge. So I actually figured out a pretty nice and easy solution to put the backing on, which is, so there is this little ridge of wood right here that is attached to like the top flooring, and the backing is meant to also get nailed into that as well as into this piece right here from the back. And so what I did was I had this segment here pulled out a little bit and I nailed in all of those places there, but then this side is honestly kind of just held in place by like gravity and just puzzling fitting it together because it's on the little ledge that sticks out behind this piece of wood, and then it is still butting up against this corner here, but it's not actually nailed in place. It's just like there, and just by being attached over here, it is working fine over there. So the back is now attached, which means now I can actually start decorating the fun part of this house. So I showed you yesterday the stripy paper, and that I think I'm gonna put in this room right here. I think this is gonna be my 90s bedroom. And so I'm gonna do from about like probably here down, just because I feel like from here down is really low below the window. So I think it's going to go above the window, and it's going to go around the 3 sides there, just on that lower portion. I'm still not sure yet what I'm going to do with the floors because I did unfortunately get paint on the edges because I was planning on putting like a faux flooring type down, but I'm having trouble finding where to get that. So flooring is probably going to have to wait. I don't know if it's going to make it in this video, hopefully, but we'll see. And then for this room, this is going to be like the dining room. I'm going to have Felicity's table and chair set up in here. And because it's a really nice formal colonial set, I'm thinking I'm actually going to try and put velvet fabric on the walls and maybe some sort of like a wood trim piece up top so it looks like a nice chair rail with like paneling, you know, fabric paneling. I think that'd be really pretty. And then I already showed you the windows that I am planning to put up here with curtains. I may also put something around the top just because it's looking kind of plain. Haven't decided that yet. And then the bottom levels, which definitely got the worst for wear on the flooring, those are just going to be dolls displayed for now. So I'm probably going to put 2 to 3 dolls in each one, just on their stands, and maybe a couple of furniture pieces behind them. I have two kind of mix match furniture pieces, which is Rebecca's sideboard and Kirsten's nightstand. So those might just kind of go back there, whereas these will be more like rooms. And I didn't even show you the bottom, but yes, I did the backing because I now also have the 6-inch legs on the bottom. It is now time for wallpapering, and I read online that you can actually use double stick tape to adhere like wrapping paper or scrapbook paper or whatever as wallpaper in dollhouses. So fingers crossed that this works. I have basically used the gridding on the back of this dollar store wallpaper to fold this so that it's even, and I am going to need probably like 3 pieces to actually go all the way around because this unfortunately doesn't even make it halfway to the back, but I think that's going to look super cute. So I folded a clean edge over here on the edge, and I'm going to do double stick tape probably from the bottom first just to make sure that the bottom is nice and smooth, and then I will smooth it upwards like this with double stick tape on the top and hopefully wind up with nice smooth wallpaper. I might need to put some double stick tape in the middle as well. We'll see how that goes. In hindsight, I'm realizing that I probably should have put tape coming from this way instead of starting with this edge, but yeah, I started with the edge because I was hoping that I could do it nice and smoothly that way, but that might not have been the best idea. So I don't know how well it shows up on screen, but there is a definite ripple here. In fact, kind of 2 ripples that are here in this paper, which I'm not loving. And it's already coming away from the top. So maybe this whole wrapping paper thing with double stick tape at least doesn't work. I didn't want to use glue because A, I would like it to be, you know, able to be peeled off, and B, I feel like that would show through the paper, like you're gonna see that on the outside of the paper. So yeah, but I don't think this is gonna work at all. So that's too bad. I was trying to see if using trim, aka dark blue duct tape, would help, but I don't feel like it's really helping the ripple at all. Like, yes, it is definitely helping things up here, but this ripple is so ripply. And is that going to bug the heck out of me? Maybe. So this is what the bunk bed looks like in here. This is going to have a blanket on it. It hasn't come yet, but it's like black with multicolor American Girl stuff on it, which was why I was thinking the multicolor stripes would look so cute. The bubble ripply part isn't really bothering me now. Now what's bothering me is the fact that right now it's so many stripes, but I think it's still really cute. Like, try to back away a little bit. I don't know. I do still think it's really cute. But will I like it once dolls and stuff are in this room as well, or will it just be too busy? I don't know. So I'm not sure if I should continue to do more and like use up all that double stick tape, because it does look cute. We're now going to try a different tactic, which is a mixture of hot glue and staples, because I have this velvet fabric here and I have cut it into 7.5-inch tall strips plus a little seam allowance here. And the seam allowance side is going to be like the folded side against the flooring, and then the other side is going to be raw and it's going to be covered over with these trim pieces. These came with the dollhouse, but they all kind of popped off because they had been hot glued. I'm going to attempt to hot glue them back in place because it seemed like they worked until the house was actually like moved and taken apart. And this I'm going to either hot glue or staple. Like, I don't want staples to show, so the staples could go underneath here, but I feel like the bottom is gonna have to be hot glued and probably the edges as well, so I hope that works. So this is working really quite wonderfully here, with I think the only issue being that it somehow looks like it's getting taller there, and I ripped this on the grain, which meant that the other side must not have had an even seam allowance or something like that, because I have been gluing this down on a seam allowance that was already in here. And you're seeing white here, but that white is actually on the floor, not on the wall. So yeah, I don't know why it's going up, but we're gonna have to even that out. I think I'm gonna do that though after I put the other strip on over here so that I can have them meet. Now that the velvet panels are on, which wow, do I now want a room with velvet paneling, it's time to add the trim over the top. Hopefully that will glue down nicely right on top. So yeah, this is gorgeous, and I feel like I now have dining room goals for like my actual house. Obviously, the floor needs a lot of work, but the velvet with the wood paneling looks so pretty. I put Rebecca's sideboard there in the back, which looked so perfect with the room because it even matched the trim, but like adding the table in here, so like the sideboard goes really well with the room. Somehow adding the girls and the chairs and Felicity's table in makes it so the room and the chair rail is really, really small. So I don't know if the sideboard's gonna stay there, but that's a room for now. So I have my frames painted now. I kind of like that this couple of coats of paint kind of gave like a shabby chic look, which I think will be nice for Samantha's room. And then I created this in Pages on my computer. So I found an image online that was of upstate New York, which is fitting for where Samantha is with her grandmary. And then I went and I put lines on it. I cropped and shrunk it down and stuff so it'd be 6 inches tall and 8 inches wide. And then I put these lines on so these can actually be like the window panes in between. And then this is my cut line to create the 2 different windows. Now these windows are not gonna be right next to each other, but I figured, you know what, who's gonna know that this scene actually connects? But I thought it was a really pretty, nice country scene for upstate New York. I am already loving these windows. I feel like they add so much to the room just from that tiny little bit. And now it's time to add some curtains. So I cut some curtain panels out of Point Desprez. So I didn't actually measure them. I just kind of looked at my Point Desprez scraps and saw like what rectangles I could get. So I made 4 of these. And then I also made 2 valances like this, which I did run a gathering stitch up at the top. Now it's time to glue them onto a window frame. These will be tied back with little bows. I've secured the 2 ends first, and now I'm pulling up the rest of the gathering stitches. I think these are truly not bad for some dollar store picture frames. They look like picture perfect windows. So at this point, the whole dollhouse is done-ish for now. And since I actually have a little bit of sun coming in from the front windows because there is snow on the ground on February 14th, it is Valentine's Day today, I figured that I would share with you the dollhouse in its current state, which is finished for this video at least. There's definitely going to be other things that I add over time, but for now it is finished-ish. Like I never had a chance to go out and find that faux flooring look, so that definitely needs to happen. But I will also want to do like little things, you know, maybe hang like pictures in the dining room or etc. So I think the only room that is basically like done is Samantha's room and probably the 90s room, with the exception potentially of flooring. So yeah, let's take a look at everything. All right, so I have already showed you a little bit of Samantha's room, but I wanted to go in more detail here at this top floor. I wound up finding this pram locally this week for really cheap, and I thought it was just such a perfect addition. And of course, now the sun is starting to go away. But we have Samantha's bed here in the corner. That pillow in the back was a handmade thing that came in a lot. This is a placemat, but I thought it made a cute little pop of color rug for her. Rebecca is visiting from 1914 to 1904. But yeah, we have the bed that I got really inexpensively, the commode that I got for free, the table and chairs that I got for the cost of shipping. This is a napkin, cloth napkin. This is a handkerchief because I don't have Samantha's settings for that. But I do have Samantha's china, which I spent $10 on, which is just pretty crazy. I don't have her treats or anything, but there's our windows back there. Super proud of how the windows turned out. I think they just look perfect. And the other one over there behind Samantha. And yeah, and that is Samantha's room right there with Nellie and Rebecca hanging out. So now we go down to the dining room area and we have Marie, Grace, and Cecile. I definitely do want to add more to this room because the white walls are just way too bare. In hindsight, I probably should have painted this one a different color, but I didn't really know what I was doing yet with the design. But I love the velvet chair rail wall, the lower wall. I do wish it was higher because again, it's like the perfect height for the sideboard, not so much for the table and chairs. And I really don't have much for Felicity for her setting. wedding. So I have a random cake and I have her flowers. And then that's just a random little vase that came on that sideboard when I got the sideboard. And then Marie Grace and Cecile are hanging out in Felicity's space because they fit better, honestly, than people with paniers. My favorite room, though, I think might be the 1990s room, and I'm gonna have to judge how much sun actually comes into this room. I think we're having a fluke right now. I don't tend to get much sun in here, but I obviously don't want sun to be like shining in on my third oldest doll that often. But we have the bed back here with the sleeping bag, which zips apart into two pieces. I know it's super dark back there, but basically we've got the two types of sleeping bag. I made the curtains over here just with two strips of mesh fabric that I hot glue pleated up to the top and then tied around down at the bottom to look like curtains that are tied back. And we have Samantha in her vinyl jumper look, especially, I don't want this in the sun at all because this jumper is volatile. Like if you can't even touch it and it falls apart. In fact, it was rubbing against the chair and I don't want that. And then I love this. I found this locally and I just like can't get over how cute this computer is. It does actually work. So we can turn it on and she will, I know you're seeing a lot of reflection here, but she will type an essay. And then if you use the mouse, she will draw the Big Dipper. And I think that is so cute. So I found that locally for a really good price. And then I bought that little teddy bear and the varsity jacket from my friend Rachel. And I just love this whole setup. I think it's adorable. She maybe could use more decor on the walls, but even with that striped wallpaper, I feel like it does a lot in that small space. Hi, Dora. And then I wasn't really sure yet what I wanted to do with these two rooms down here. I wasn't anticipating getting any additional furniture, but I found this desk locally for a really good price. And so I picked that up this week and I decided to put the contact paper wallpaper down here just because having two blank rooms looked just too plain. And I thought that the contact paper wallpaper did a pretty good job. I also had more of those trim pieces. And so to cover up the splotchy floor for right now, I literally just laid the trim pieces on top of there. And same with in this room over here, we've got just trim pieces laying on the edges to kind of cover up the splotchy edges. This is just Kirsten hanging out. The ironic thing, of course, is that these are my two oldest dolls and they're on the bottom of this, but these are my white body Kirsten and my white body Molly. I have no idea whose Blackboard and food this is, but I figured it kind of looked like Kirsten could hang out with it. And I'll do something with these rooms once I figure out kind of what I want, but I think they're pretty cute for now. So overall, this is our dollhouse. So that's going to be it for me for today. I have really enjoyed putting this dollhouse together. Hopefully you enjoyed this very, very different kind of project for my channel, but I am really happy with the way that it has turned out, at least so far. Again, I will be doing other changes to it, and probably when I do those changes, I'll post them just like to my Instagram stories or something like that. I guess if you let me know that you really want an update, I could always post it to my community tab here, so just let me know down in the comments. But I'm curious, I know a lot of you collect American Girl dolls. Do any of you have a dollhouse setup or some other display setup? Let me know down in the comments what you have for your display. And if you liked this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like, well, not really like this, but maybe on other costuming content from me, please go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube twice a week, with my sewing vlogs and other vlogs like this out on Tuesdays and other costuming content out on Saturdays, but I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi down in the description below, or you can send me a super thanks right here on YouTube. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Edwardian level patrons, Sharon, Mirage, Laura, and Jean. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!